Okay, we're recording.
We are live.
Welcome to our first episode of Alt Majority with me, Shay, and
With me, Shannon.
mother and daughter. Okay, so we're going to begin with a conscious tune in. So, wherever this podcast finds you, I invite you to arrive fully here in this moment. If you're driving, please stay focused on the road. If you have the ability to sit up nice and tall, we're just going to take 3 cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth together as a collective. Inhaling fully through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Let it all go. Inhale through the nose. And an audible exhale out the mouth. One more time, inhale. And exhale. It's really important to me that we just open up this container in a way that feels safe and supportive to all those listening and to us as your guides throughout this podcast today.
Absolutely. Our biggest purpose is to really enlighten you, touch your heart, connect you to your fellow human beings. And we want to make sure we're doing this in a nice, safe space. So we like to start by setting an intention. And I'll just say for my part, it is my intention to spread light and love. And that's honestly my highest intent, is to be able to share wisdom and raise vibration if possible. So that's my intention. How about you, Shay?
Yeah, my intention is definitely to create a space and a container for people to explore and grow together in all things spiritual. So just really tapping into our divine nature as humans, as God, as universe, as energy. So that is definitely my intention now and always, is to create this beautiful container for all of us to grow together.
Absolutely. And we're really happy to have you listening in with us today. This is the first of what will be many YouTube videos that we will be making from this point on. So please subscribe, please comment, please like, and let us know what kind of things you want to hear. It's our intent to really discuss a wide variety of topics. And we thought we'd start off today just diving right in to the big stuff. Basically, what is our life purpose? What are we doing here? What's the purpose of this time we are spending here on Earth? So we thought we would just start, with the big question and talk about, well, what do we think about that? So Shay, I'm gonna throw it to you to begin. What's your thought? What comes to mind when you're asked, what are we doing here? What's the purpose of life?
What is the purpose of life? I believe that the purpose of this earth life, why we're here, is to just ascend out of this earth life, honestly. And it's known that I have a background in yoga, so I prescribe to just this idea that we come from many past lives, and that all these lives build up until you reach this point where you can ascend from this human body and absorb yourself back into the pure consciousness that is the universal energy of everything. So we are these manifested forms in order to learn lessons, in order to know our true self as this universal divine energy. And so, yes, I think that our purpose here is really to just know ourselves and be able to ascend from that, from the manifested to become the unmanifested. And I'm sure I can elaborate on that more as we continue talking. But yes, I think I'll leave it there. That is really what I think we are here to do. And now back to you. Why are we here?
Fantastic. So I just want to talk a little bit about my belief, kind of spiritual background a little bit, to kind of give some context of where I'm coming from. So Didn't grow up with any specific religious background. I did go to church on occasion with my family, essentially Protestant, Lutheran, Methodist kind of Easter thing, Christmas type of thing. So I didn't really grow up with a belief system, but from everything that I can remember, from the earliest I can remember, I did feel a connection to spirit and to the universe. And I did feel and see and hear things that I guess I didn't really realize not everybody was feeling and hearing and seeing, just picking up other people's emotions, just feeling that spirits were with me. All of that was going on. When I was in my early 20s, I joined the Mormon Church, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I was Mormon for roughly, I'm not even sure exactly how long it was, maybe 15, 17, 18, something like that years. I'm not really sure.
That's a lot of years. I did not realize.
It was a long time. It was a really long time. And essentially, the church taught me a lot, a lot. It really took someone who didn't have a good foundation of even any type of spirituality whatsoever, or even really way to live life, and really taught me how to be a good human on so many levels. I'd met hundreds of people throughout my time there who were loving and just incredible friends and human beings. I had a great community with them, and I learned so much. I definitely brought up my knowledge on what is the universe from where I was, until I got to a point where honestly, I just no longer vibed with them. And that's essentially what it was, is that I brought up my spiritual kind of knowledge and thought about what is and what is right and what is good for me and what resonates and vibrates with me. And at some point, we no longer vibrated together. And so I left the church.
The purpose. The church served its purpose in your life.
It 100% served its purpose. It did. It taught me so many things, so many things. And it really connected me to the point at which now it was time to go to a higher point. And from there, I haven't subscribed to any other form of religion. It's honestly just been a matter of seeking and searching and reading basically any and everything religious kind of texts that I could get my hands on, different spiritual leaders, different spiritual thoughts, just to come to a point of realization and awakening and understanding that essentially we are just energy. And that's really what it is that we are beings of light. We are energy. Everything is energy. This is what science tells us. We know this to be the case. And I've spent a lot of time in meditation, in prayer, and seeking and listening to spirit. And what I know to be the truth is that this is just a temporary experience that we're having. Our spiritual light beings are having. We're having a human experience. We're spiritual beings. We've incarnated into these bodies. It's as you were saying, Shay, we're here to learn. We're actually here to grow. We're actually here to learn how to be love, how to be love, not how to love, how to become love, how to become compassion, how to become our higher self. So we came down here, we had a plan, we wanted to have certain life experiences, we wanted to go through this time with certain other beings. And we decided, we laid out our timelines ahead of us. This is the experiences that we want to have. And we hoped that we'd be able to reach our highest timeline as possible. So we incarnate down here. We forget about all of that. We think we're this human body. We forget we're these divine beings. And we try to make our way throughout our lives and figure out what's going on. So We have all of our experiences from our other times that we've lived, all of our earthly lives, all of our spiritual, non-earthly lives, all of those things wrapped up into this energetic body, which we know energy can't be destroyed. It can just be transferred. So we keep transferring energies into these bodies so that we can learn and grow and really find out how to transcend, as you said, how to transcend all this and understand that everything that happens to us on earth just is. It just is. Nothing is good or bad. Nothing is good or evil. We have these polarities of light and dark. Absolutely. We have these, right, that feel that we perceive as good and bad, but actually everything just is as exactly as it's supposed to be. We've actually set these lessons up for ourselves to learn. We knew we would be stubborn. We knew we would be difficult to work with in all of these human emotions that we're trying to regulate, because that's how we relate to one another. So we're just here to figure out how to do all that, and to, despite all of the feelings that we may perceive as a challenge or a struggle or a pain or a hurt, despite all of that, in fact, because of all of that, we came here to do all that so that we could get past it and understand that we're just our higher selves. So this is a long game we're playing. It feels real long.
Feels super. I mean, I just know that two of us have been together for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. I feel so incredibly grateful for the lifetime that we're living right now. But I mean, everything that you were just saying, almost every time it brings me back to be the observer. It's all about just observing. I mean, we aren't our feelings, we aren't our emotions. Those are all fleeting. And so when you are able to finally take a step back and just observe what's happening instead of reacting to what's happening, that's a beautiful space to be in.
Right. When we can get to that point of respond, not react.
Yes.
So we're getting somewhere. Because what we end up doing is we'll talk about this many times, is that we vibrate at the frequency that we are going to receive the things. So I know a lot of people talk about law of attraction is like visualize the thing and say that you want the thing and try to like picture yourself and be grateful for having it. But the real idea is to be and raise your vibration and match the thing. And then it just comes to you. Be the person that has that already. Yeah. Just be that vibration. And that's a point where you have to get to that. You have to get to
gosh, there's layers, peeling back layers and layers and layers of past lives, current lives, energetic cords you have with other people. You know, so much of our energy is outsourced to other people, things, places. And that's what we're here to do, is trying to teach us, okay, how can we call back our energy and be at the vibration that we want to live in?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we came here with a purpose. And, you know, a lot of times when you say, like, what's your life purpose, people feel like, like maybe there's this giant thing that I'm supposed to do. So I have to get to that. But it could be your soul just came here to learn how to be grateful. Yep. And that's your life purpose. And that it isn't to build monuments or, to be famous or to leave like historical legacies. Actually, maybe your soul just came here to learn how to be nice. Yep. Maybe you came here to learn how to be generous. Maybe you just came here to learn how to be truthful. Yeah. So because of all of that, you set up the lessons that get you to it. So it is just, are you going along with that, or do you struggle? And that's where it comes back to this idea of attachment. And when you get attached to things, that's actually what actually creates the struggle.
the attachment is what causes suffering. Buddha,
suffering.
Buddha said it, and he was right. It's the attachment is the thing that creates the suffering that we experience.
It's true. It's true. So if we can get into this state of like being so grateful for the abundance we have and understand this isn't even ours. These objects around us aren't even ours. These bodies that we're just energetically like feeling up for a moment, these people that we love and are attached to, we feel like they're ours. We do. We're connected to them. We're connected to all of us. But actually, if you can get to a state of detachment and understand that all of those things and people and places and all of that is here for your learning and better, your good.
Yeah.
Actually, even the ones that you feel like you might have a harder time being grateful for, or the things, right? Or the ailments or the challenges or whatever. Those are actually the things that build you. That's just all part of the grander scheme of what are we doing here.
And once you start operating at the level of gratitude, just the language change in your own language is helping you to vibrate at a higher frequency. So instead of this person screwed you over and F them, no, I'm super grateful that this situation happened to me so that I was able to learn blank, whatever it is. I mean, just
right.
Gratitude is such a big part of this. Gratitude is just such a big part of raising the frequency in general.
And so we go through our lives and we bring ourselves through these people situations that show us the contrast. Because how can we know what we want or like on earth until we see what we don't? How do we know how we want to act until we see how we don't like how we're acting? How do we know what we want in a partner until we see what we don't? So that's why it seems like why do we all have to suffer heartbreaks? Why do we all have to feel the rejection? Why is that? It's because we're showing ourselves something. We're showing ourselves, hey, this is what I like. This is what I want to vibrate towards, or this is what I want to vibrate away from. In a way, we're all like these single cell creatures that are just going toward the positive stimuli and away from the negative stimuli, just over and over and over. And it's crazy because there's so many of us that keep trying to hit that positive stimuli. We're running up against the negative thing. We just can't get it. We're not getting it. It's like, why do we keep showing ourselves the same contrast over and over and over and over and over? Because we're not understanding. We're not getting it. We're not getting the lesson yet. We still have to see it. Apparently. We haven't gotten to the point where we're able to get over that thing, where we're able to set a boundary, where we're able to get over that challenge, where we're able to just love ourselves anyway, or love the other person, or forgive, or all of those really the tough ones.
I truly, truly believe that despair, this heartbreak, despair in general is just another path to spiritual life, to enlightenment. It's oftentimes people come in to find their spiritual path when they are at the lowest points of their life. So if you just think about it in that aspect, why are you getting shown this thing over and over and over again? To wake yourself up, maybe that's it.
To wake yourself up, because what we do instead is we tell ourselves stories about why everything that's not going in our life that we like, that we don't want, or we want, we say that it's other things and people's fault. We actually blame the other situation. Well, this is why I can't do this. This is why I can't do that. This is why I can't be happy. If only I had this. If only I had what that other person had. If only I was blessed like them, or smarter, or more attractive. If only I had more money. If only I was born into a different. And that's the whole thing. You weren't. You actually were given the circumstance exactly unique to you and your soul. What you needed to experience. So we all have
signed up for this. You signed the contract. You're here.
Signed up. Yeah, you literally signed up for your exact experience. So it's now, how are you going to navigate through it? That's where I talk about being on the higher and lower timelines. So everything might be somewhat planned out, as in you're in a choose your own adventure game where the general storyline is all laid out. Here's the things that are going to occur, but you still get to choose how you're going to respond. And hopefully not react. We react based on our, initial kind of like upbringing and all of the things that we've learned. This is how we react.
We've been conditioned to.
We've been conditioned to be able to, go away from negative stimuli and all the things that we do on that. But really, at the end of the day, or at the end of our lifetime, we'll see how we did. And we won't really, do you know what I'm saying? We won't ever be to a point of being finished.
Yes.
Until or unless our souls finally decide to stop and not be on this cycle. And, we could have definitely a whole discussion about.
Yeah.
But while we're here, what do? Is we just try to make the best choices possible so that we end up on our highest timeline. So we end up in the best we could have got.
And how about this? Not even make the best choices possible, but just trust fully in the choices that you actually make. Because knowing well that whatever lesson comes from that choice is a lesson that's needed to be felt, heard, noticed.
It's true. I mean, for the most part, we're all doing the best we can. Like, most of us aren't trying to harm others in any way. We get selfish though. And
ego. The ego comes in.
The ego comes up, and we want to be important and special, and we like to be seen and recognized. And that's just a human nature, human need. And that's fine. It's just how we go about getting that attention. Sometimes if we don't get the positive attention, we go for the negative.
Yes.
And we don't tell ourselves the truth about it. We tell ourselves we're entitled to things, or we can do what we want because we didn't have something else, or whatever it is.
On the flip side, sometimes we tell ourselves that we're not worthy of the good thing that's in front of us. So there's that duality coming back, always this balance of not being worthy enough, I am worthy enough type of thing.
It's so true. Absolutely. And it's like that, all of those conversations that we have within our own mind, all things we say to ourselves, either affirming our existence or denying it, either affirming our divinity or denying it. So you're so right. I think part of what we're doing here is getting to that point of peace, just getting to that point of, what, it is what it is. And I'm okay, regardless of my circumstance, regardless of what's happening around me, or, the things that I have to experience.
So here's your reminder, dear listener, that you are love. You literally are love. I am love. You are love. We are all love.
Absolutely. And it's a choice for us to decide how we feel and what the things we say to ourselves are. We can decide to be worthy. And actually, that's part of what we're here to learn, is to decide that we are worthy beings, that we're worthy of love, that we're worthy of acceptance, that we can find those things inside of ourselves. Because once you start relying on the world or other people for those things to affirm your being, then this is where you struggle. When you have to go to the outside source, when you can kind of turn within yourself and find that self-love and self-acceptance, this is where you get to that place of peace. This is where I think we're ultimately all trying to get to.
And if you are the person who is doesn't know how to speak to themselves in a positive way, I encourage you to listen to positive affirmations. Write it, listen to it, anything that is going to recondition your brain to let you know that you are perfectly perfect in every way. Nothing.
Absolutely.
You are whole. You are whole.
Right. And you're important and special, and you have an important existence here on earth, and because we're all connected. And that's the other part we know, is that we're all actually connected. So what happens to one happens to all of us. And we really haven't been operating like that as humanity. We haven't. We've been operating as separate beings. And I think we are coming to a different point in our existence where we're understanding truly our collective nature, and how we can all collectively decide to live on an earth that's full of peace and love and joy and positivity. And it can be that. We just have to pick it, but it has to start with our own collective lives. or our own individual lives, I should say. If we can get to that point in our own individual lives where we're just at peace, where we remember to breathe, where we
The
take a
rhythm of your
second
breath
to
is the rhythm of your life. The rhythm of your breath is the rhythm of your life.
100%. I'm really glad you started with the breath, because it's literally how we come into this world and how we leave it is through the breath. Breath is definitely life. So
Oh, I heard this beautiful yoga teacher one time refer to your breath as your soul. I mean, because what happens when you stop breathing is this life is over. And
yeah,
vice versa, when you start breathing, that's when your life begins. So how important the breath is very important. It's very, very important.
it's everything. It's everything.
I mean, you can't be
Okay.
stressed, you can't be in fear, you can't be full of anxiety if you're breathing properly. It's physiologically impossible to feel those feelings if you're breathing properly.
Great. So we'll definitely be doing different breathing exercises. So we go throughout our time here on All Majority. That is, again, part of what we're trying to do is lift everybody's consciousness up, and we try to do it through the breath. So we explored our topic about what are we doing here? What's our life purpose? We'd love to hear or see some comments down below. Please feel free to chat us up. Do you agree with us or not? We'd love to hear from you. So let's go on to our little next segment of what we wanted to talk about, which is essentially, we just want to give you some practical ways of bringing what we're saying into your life. And I think that how we get to this sort of, it's because it's such a wide topic we picked, how we're going to get to it is really just through affirmations, like you were saying, Shay, just the power of affirmation. Just what is affirmation? Can you describe, Shay? What can you tell us? What's an affirmation, and like how do you go about doing that? How do you hear yourself?
So an affirmation is just a positive phrase, or I mean, it's just positive language in general. So how you come to know what affirmation you need is through meditation. Sit with yourself for just a moment, and where do you feel like you're lacking? What are the places in your life that you feel like you need to raise the vibration a little bit higher, and just start there. So for example, let's just say I feel a little bit overweight, and I have these feelings of like my body is not looking the way that it is supposed to be looking. I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, yada yada. That is just bringing me down, right? That is not doing anything to change the situation. So instead, my body is strong, and I am perfectly content in the container that holds my soul. And it's just changing the language around whatever it is that you feel like isn't feeling positive in your mind at this in this moment, in this state.
Right. And I just want to point out, just weight as an example is a state that you decide amongst, to yourself.
Yes.
So it's like, if you feel, it's that whole idea of body like acceptance, and deciding this is my container. And if I'm healthy, that's what I'm actually going for, and not paying attention to that. So I think we definitely get caught up. So that's a good example of just affirming to yourself that you're worthy, that you love your body, that you're safe in your body, that kind of thing.
And once you start working with your body in this kind, gentle manner, well, then it starts working with you. You can reject it, and you can say mean things to it, or you can love it for exactly how it is. And then suddenly you'll see a change begin to happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I always say, like, what do you say to yourself when you wake up and look in the mirror? Do you look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I look terrible, or whatever it is that you say? Or do you say to yourself, like, wow, like, I'm amazing. Like, I've got this. Like, it doesn't matter what happens today. Nothing's going to shake me. Because when you start off with that positive type of language and just affirming your existence and what you're going to do about your life and your day, it just puts you in a whole different mindset. And it does help you to pay attention So when we're talking about self-affirmations, it's for sure what you're saying to yourself, but feel free to write these things down. Feel free to write it down. It does something to your brain. It like locks it into your brain when you write down the statements. So even just write them down and then read them to yourself. And if you start your day, if you had 10 nice things to say about yourself, you just read those back to yourself, you're going to reinforce all that inside your brain. You're going to start to feel like a different person. It's not going to even take that long.
No, it won't. I mean, sticky notes, that's how I started, with sticky notes all over my apartment with just positive affirmations and phrases that I knew would raise my vibration. And anytime I felt this inkling of like negativity come, because negativity isn't a bad thing either. It's allowing you to notice something about yourself. So I don't want anybody to feel bad about any negative thoughts that come up. It's just simply notice them, be the observer of them, and let them float away, and replacing them with something more positive. They're definitely absolutely normal. We all have these thoughts running through our heads. It's just exactly what we are saying, is just replacing them with something more positive that's going to lift you up. So having all these sticky notes all over my apartment, anytime I felt this urge or like this, like I was being pulled down, start reading those sticky notes, and it would like just a little, it's a pep talk from the universe as far as I'm concerned.
Right. It's like they say how when you smile, it like
Oh,
creates chemicals that go throughout your body. Even
yep.
if you're fake smiling, it still works. Just like the laughter therapy, like if that idea of you're down, just go watch something funny just to bring yourself up. But like, just the positive affirmations on a regular basis. This is what really will take hold over time when you're just constantly reinforcing yourself to yourself.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's a habit that you can make. And I bet you have a habit of negative talk already. And so all you're doing is just flipping that negative talk every time you tell yourself you're not good enough, I can't do this, this is too hard, this is too scary. You're just either fear-based or shame-based. It's a lot of times we make decisions, shame-based decisions. And so when you switch all that language around and stop doing that to yourself, I mean, like your life just like blows wide open. Honestly, what you'll find out you've been stopping yourself from doing will be crazy. Once you start to change your language around and talk to yourself differently, then you'll find out you could have been a whole different person if you would only allow yourself, if you would only encourage yourself, if you would only love yourself, if you would only accept that you have infinite potential, then you'll be able to actually have infinite potential.
It's really just finding the gratitude in every situation and every single moment is just another way to find these affirmations all around you. If you have a
Yeah.
hard time, with positive affirmations towards yourself, well, just think about all that you're grateful for out there, outside of this body, and then suddenly it'll start trickling in. It's like the drop in the bucket, the ripple. It'll start rippling out into every facet of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So just it's a habit you have to build, just like any other habit. So that's part of what we're here to do, to remind you to love yourself, to remind you that you have the power, to remind you that you have the choice. And
Yes.
that's really, really another thing we're trying to do here on earth is learn how to choose and take responsibility for our choices. And that's a big one. And as
Oh,
soon
yeah.
as you can start responsibility for all your choices, you'll start to take responsibility for even your thoughts, and you'll understand the power of all of that. What you think is what your life is. What you're saying about yourself and a bit about your life is what your life is.
Mhm. And I just think it's so important throughout this practice of changing your language, bringing gratitude and affirmations into your life. It's just important to note that any effort on this path, like none of it goes to waste, none of it. So you can jump on the wagon and you might have a bad day. Don't let that bad day bring you down for the next month. Know that the next day, the next minute, the next second, you are able to change your situation just by your thoughts and the way that you're speaking alone. That
Right.
is so important. I have definitely fallen into that trap before of, well, I had a negative day. Well, I'll just start next week. Like, okay, that's one method. Or I could just seconds later give myself a timeout and re-observe the situation and then come back into myself, remember what I'm grateful for, affirm who I am, and then continue.
Absolutely.
It's a hard practice. It's much easier said than done. So we're all in this together, and just take your time. Be gentle with yourself. Be very gentle with yourself.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Okay, so I thought when we were talking earlier, we were talking about maybe just having like a final sort of thought. And you had read me something about the color blue. Do you have that in front of you? Can you read that?
Oh, I can definitely read that. Let me pull it up really quick.
And I have something to Michelle and then.
Okay, it's gonna take me a second to pull it up. Okay, so the color blue represents both the sky and the sea and is associated with open spaces, freedom, intuition, imagination, inspiration, and sensitivity. The color blue also represents meanings of depth, trust, loyalty, sincerity, wisdom, confidence, stability, faith, and intelligence.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So that's our color of the day today, blue. I have in front of me this gorgeous piece of lapis lazuli. So just to feature the properties of what is lapis lazuli is this is a stone that has been used by healers, by priests, by royalty, honestly, would wear the lapis lazuli as it represents like universal truth. And it's said to really like increase like your psychic abilities and your inner visions, and really to open you up to universal truth means not only like potentially like being able to see other timelines, but also to be able to see within yourself, to really bump up your own intuition, to really help you to see things that maybe you haven't been able to see before. So that is the crystal of the day, is lapis lazuli. So
thank you, lapis lazuli. Am I saying that correctly? I don't know, but
all right. Thank you, Earth, for all your beautiful gifts, all of the amazing things that exist for us to experience here on this earth.
oh, eternally grateful for all of it. For all of it. Just looking at my blue blanket behind me. Now
Right.
I'm noticing everything blue that's around me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in. We really look forward to talking to you. It's our intent to put out videos once a week for now and connect with you. And next week, what are we talking about? Do we know yet? Did we say what we were talking about? What's our topic next week?
I think we'll talk about remembering our gifts. Remembering our gifts.
Yeah, I think so too. So that's what we're going to be going into, our own like spiritual, physical, all of the gifts that we possibly have been given to
serve with, really.
Serve with. That's exactly it. That's perfect. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. And we will see you next time, our fellow light beings.